Now that we have a better understanding of the difference between independent samples and paired data, I have some examples for you to read through and decide, does it sound more like two distinct or independent groups, meaning we would use a two-sample t-test? Or is this more of a matched pairs design, where each individual has two data values associated with them, and we would need to use a paired t-test on that? So go ahead and pause the video and decide, is it independent data or paired data? All right, so the first one is on exam scores. An instructor wants to compare student scores on the midterm and final exam. She obtains a sample of students and records each student's midterm exam score and final exam score. This is going to be matched pairs. For each person, we have two pieces of data, a midterm and a final score. Exercise in memory. To examine the effect of physical exertion on the memory of a witnessed event, researchers randomly divided police officers into two groups. One group completed a high-intensity physical obstacle course, and the other group did no exercise. Both groups were then placed in a live, occupationally relevant scenario. After this scenario, the mean scores on an exam testing recall of what was witnessed during the scenario were compared. So this is going to be independent data. You have the one group who did the high-intensity obstacle course, and then they took the test and we recorded their scores. So we have one data value for each of them. And then separately, we have the group that did no exercise. And they also took that memory test. And so we have one score for each of them. So we have two distinct or independent groups here. Our next example is on assertiveness training. A business is looking at adding assertiveness training to its leadership program. To measure its effectiveness, 10 employees are given a test at the beginning of the course and again at the end. A high score on the test implies high assertiveness. Are people more assertive after taking the class? So this one's going to be matched pairs. For each person, we have a before and an after score on their assertiveness. And that's where we're getting that matched pairs from. Toothpaste. Suppose researchers want to compare toothpaste with and without tartar control. In order to make the comparison between individuals who are as similar as possible with respect to background and diet, they obtain a sample of identical twins. One of the twins is randomly assigned to brush with tartar control toothpaste, and the other would brush with regular toothpaste of the same brand. So this is going to be matched pairs, and that might have been a little bit harder to figure out, but if you think back to chapter 9, one of the ways you can get matched pairs is by using twins. And so if you're doing something that's generally in the medical field, twins is a good way to go because they're going to have identical genetics. And so that really minimizes a lot of the bias and issues that might come up that make those results hard to figure out. So this will be a matched pairs. The next one's titled How Sweet It Is. You're going to choose 10 pieces of farmland throughout various regions of Colorado. For each piece of farmland, you're going to take the lot and cut it in half, and you're going to plot one half of the lot with sweet corn, and the other half with standard corn. And then you're going to compare the sugar content of both of those corns to see if they differ. This is also going to be a matched pairs. And the way that I've seen a matched pairs here is that they're taking each plot of land and dividing it in half. So whatever the water, sun, soil conditions are, they're going to be identical for the sweet corn and the standard corn that are grown on that piece of farmland. Then they're replicating it with 9 other pieces of farmland. So I'm getting that matched pairs from kind of that setup. All right, last one. A total of 23 Gunnison High School students were admitted to Western. Of those students, 7 were offered athletic scholarship. The school's guidance counselor looked at their composite ACT scores, wondering if Western might admit people with lower scores if they were also athletes. All right, so this is going to be 2 independent samples. You have the one group that is athletes and you have the other group that is not. And then what we have is the ACT score for each person in each of those groups. So 2 distinct groups here.